Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, everyone. It's very good to be here telling the Sunstone story. It's a very exciting time at the moment. We've got a lot going on. We've got some great results, and that's all driven by a great team. So let's work our way through this. I will definitely be making some forward-looking statements. I get pretty excited these days when I talk about Sunstone. But anyway, let's get some of this presented up front. So market cap at the moment is sitting around $200 million. We have had a great run over the last couple of months. I can't count the number of people that said they wish they took more stock in April 2020 when we raised money at 0.5 cent. So, but anyway, we're all in the same position. Wish I'd taken more too. Cash and equity about 19 million. So that's about 12 million in cash and about 7 million in equity in Nasdaq Stockholm listed Copperstone Resources. That equity we can trade. There's no restrictions on that. So, you know, that's considered almost equivalent of cash there. Shares on issue, 2.2 billion. That's been the same for a couple of years now. Top 20 shareholders has been very stable. We haven't seen a lot of change. That's been underpinned over the last 7 or 8 years by some family offices out of Europe and a number of resource funds in Australia. And then board and management, we're sitting at just under 5%. So we've put our own cash into this and certainly are very much aligned with shareholders. So the story is actually really simple. There's 3 main points. One is we're a well-funded junior and we have got a track record of discovery. And we've got 2 projects, both of which over the last couple of months have delivered some incredible drill hole results. And we think we're onto a significant discovery in northern Ecuador and potentially another one in the south. We'll see in the next couple of months when we get some more drilling results back. The project in the north is called El Palmar, and we own 51% of that. We can move through to 100% ownership very easily with 2 more cash payments. The first is a $300,000 cash payment, that's US dollars, and the second is a $2 million cash payment. So that's a very simple process through to 100%. In the south, the project's called Bramaderos, and we own 87.5%, and that's a joint venture with Toronto-listed Cornerstone Capital, who also happen to be the partner in the Cascabel deposit. So again, Bramaderos, great project. We've got a rig turning there at the moment as well. So we'll go into those in a bit more detail, but as I said at the outset, this all comes down to a great team. Our team in Ecuador is very strong, 100% Ecuadorians. We cover all areas of geology, community, environment, commercial. So it's a diverse team and a very good team. Here in Brisbane, there's 4 of us. There's myself, geology background primarily, previously with SolGold, Intrepid and Western Mining. While I was at all of those companies, I worked with Bruce Rawlack, who's shown there, our chief geologist. Also at Intrepid was Ray Robinson, a mining engineer, and our CFO is ex-Panos, the large copper gold company. So it's all these people that have worked very hard over a number of years to deliver where we are at the moment. Briefly about Ecuador, it's building an exploration and mining sector. So it has 2 modern mines now, a high-grade underground gold mine operated by Lundin Gold called Fruta del Norte, and a large open pit copper gold porphyry. And both of those mines are having a significant impact on, as you can see, there are a number of statistics on contribution to export earnings, contribution to GDP, significant contribution to social welfare and to employment. So that's on the production front. Exploration, there's a handful of projects that are coming through, and the government just recently signed 2 investment protection agreements for projects that are in the advanced exploration stage and into feasibility studies. That's Cascabel and Cangrejos. So the government is out there publicly saying we support mining, we want to see these projects progress. And because of that, all the majors are there. They all have a presence, BHP, Newcrest, Anglo, etc. So that gives a lot of us comfort that there's a sovereign risk tick of approval. I won't dwell on this. You can look at this at your leisure, but there's a raft of large deposits. They tend to cluster in domains, and I think it's those domains where you will see significant mining development. and the government will support that strongly. So as you can see, our two projects, one in the north, El Palmar, and one in the south, Bramaderos. Now, Sunstone Metals, our reputation in Ecuador is very strong, and we value that incredibly. We do a lot of work on environmental monitoring. There's a lot of statutory work, but there's a lot of extra work that we do. We're involved in reforestation programs. We have a nursery. We grow our own trees. We also help the community, particularly during coronavirus. We've supported vaccination programs. We've supported local people with food packs when they've basically been unable to get into town to buy food. We do a lot of training. So it's a very serious part of our business, and we spend a lot of time on this. And certainly the feedback we've been getting is that we're heading in the right direction. We're doing a good job. So let's talk about the projects. El Palmar, as you can see there, we're in a major belt. We're 65 kilometres from Cascabel, 2.5 billion tonne porphyry deposit. But that belt, mapped out by the Toachi Fault, is critical to hosting porphyry deposits along its length. Cascabel, 2.5 billion, Lurimagua, 1 billion, and now El Palmar emerging as another significant discovery. This is what it looks like. We resurfaced a road into the area where the drilling rigs are operating. We collect soil samples. You can see a lot of the area there is cleared for subsistence agriculture. We're drilling 24/7. We've got a second rig that's on site now. So hopefully in the next couple of days, that'll be turning and that'll start drilling our deep holes. So very exciting developments over the next few weeks. So this is what got everyone excited, and justifiably so. I mean, when we first saw these assays, we were very excited. So hole 1 delivered nearly 500 metres at 0.41 gold, 0.15 copper. I can no longer present gold equivalents. That's something that we've been told we can't put out there. But, you know, the numbers are very impressive, and it's a gold, copper, bit of silver porphyry system. So within those wide intervals, we're getting 100 to 170 metre intervals of high-grade gold and copper. And this is just in the upper few hundred metres. And as you'll see in a minute, the potential laterally and at depth is huge. Right, so this is a close-up of the main magnetic anomaly that we're drilling on the left there, and you can see we've got scattered holes. We've really focused on this southern portion of the circular anomaly. So we're getting our head around the geology. And on the right-hand side, there is a cross-section that shows those 3 holes fanning out from the same collar, and they're drilling the red, the purple, the pink intrusives, and then the rock that surrounds them is also mineralised, but a bit weaker. So that's the story we're developing. We're seeing consistency with that story in holes 4 and 5. They're both mineralised. We haven't got assays back yet, but they're both mineralised. We've drilled holes 6 and 7, which will further define the southern area. And then we're currently drilling hole 8 at the moment, which is sort of heading off to the southwest. So a lot of news flow to come through. And then, as I said, second rig that'll be turning in the next few days, and it's collared up in the north, the same collar position as hole 4. And we can't wait to see the results of that. That'll be in January. Right, so this is a really important slide. So this is a slice through the magnetic model. Many of you have seen this before, but the story's evolving. So this is the area that I just showed you. So this is the area, top 500 metres, copper and gold through those first few assays that we've seen. And we know that holes 6 and 7 and 8 are mineralised from what we're seeing in the daily logs. Holes 4 and 5 tested this other northern side. Not extensively yet. We're going back there and we'll keep drilling there. But we know that side is mineralised as well. And then this is the deep stuff. So, you know, this magnetic anomaly, that's all it is at the moment, magnetic anomaly. But we're getting little bits of evidence that this is a mineralised body that's sitting below these smaller apophyses at El Palmar. Now, just to put you in the picture with scale, and part of the reason why we get excited is that that's Cascabel on the right-hand side. They're at the same scale, a cross-section through it. So the main ore body is about 600 metres below surface, and it's got a skinny apophyse that goes up to surface. So that's why we're getting excited. We struggle to explain the mag anomaly with anything else than the mineralised body of some sort. And then we're extending this laterally. So in the next few days, we should get an announcement out on some soil sampling that's taken place immediately southeast and immediately northeast of that main anomaly. And you can see on the right-hand side there, all those dots are soil samples. So the one on the southeast corresponds with a little magnetic anomaly. It's got stockwork veining at surface. It's mineralised. So we're extending this thing. And ultimately, we could potentially have something over a strike length. It's a cluster of mineralised centres over 2.5 kilometres. That's what we're chasing. We're getting hints that that's what we're going to deliver. Some pictures of rocks, but I guess I just wanted to point out bottom right there, that's a low gold, high copper assay. And these are when I say we're getting hints of what might be ahead of us. We're seeing similar rocks that are a breccia that have grabbed a lump of porphyry from somewhere and brought them up from depth. So little things like that are telling us that what's below where we're drilling at the moment is well mineralised. So now we move to the south of Ecuador. This is the Bramaderos project. We've been drilling here for 2 years. I think the market lost a little bit of interest in Bramaderos. We've delivered a significant porphyry discovery at surface at Brahma, and we were working through towards delivering a resource in that in 2022. But we then drilled a hole at Alba, which is right next to Brahma, and we drilled off to the northwest. And it surprised everyone, and the market response was very good. So we've drilled a high-grade gold target. This is, we think, a later overprint on top of a porphyry. Where we were going to stop drilling at Brahma for a while we collected our thoughts. That idea obviously went out the window very quickly. We're drilling there now. You can see on the right-hand side there, we've got a fan of holes. So we've drilled hole 20, which sits underneath the discovery of 111 metres at 2.3 grams, including a very high-grade zone, 7 at just under an ounce. So we're drilling a fan of holes under that. We've drilled hole 20. We're now down about nearly 200 metres in hole 21. We like what we see in both of those holes. It's exhibiting things very similar to what we saw in hole 12. So this is really taking shape well. We're going to try to get some samples in before Christmas, which means the turnaround for assays is probably early February, realistically. But we like what we see. So what's ahead of us? A lot. So El Palmar, 2 rigs operating. We take a little break over Christmas, New Year. Assays from holes 4, 5 and 6 won't be back before Christmas. They'll be into the new year. Drill holes 7 and 8 continue to explore that shallow zone. Hole 9 starting in the next couple of days, that'll drill deep. So as I've said there, 1,500 metre hole, 30 metres a day. That gives us an early February completion. Wedge holes are likely off hole 9. You might have seen that in the graphic I showed earlier. So we'll try to wedge off it to test that deep area most efficiently. Soil sampling continuing, so we're extending it laterally, continuing to do mapping. We've got epithermal targets we need to chase. So a lot of activity going on at El Palmar. Bramaderos, drilling at Alba. If we like the next set of results, hopefully we'll add more rigs. We're doing geophysics starting in January over both Alba and Limon, because what we're seeing at Alba can then translate into a number of similar areas at Limon. So there's a huge amount going on, lots of good results. We hope to deliver some steady news flow January, February, a couple more announcements before Christmas. We're very bullish about the results we're going to deliver. So thank you very much for your time today, and Merry Christmas.
Couple of quick questions for Malcolm, please, Mel. You've done it before, Malcolm. You know what you saw at Cascabel with Sol Gold. Are you seeing similarities here at El Palmar at this early stage that, in simple terms, make you think that you've got another Cascabel in your hands?
We hope we have. The geology does look similar. Bruce Rawlack, our General Manager Geology, would be better placed to answer the question, but certainly we're seeing a number of things that suggest to us that the geology is very, very similar. Drilling will tell about the scale, but we love what we see so far.
And again, going to the Alba gold prospect in the south, Malcolm, you see, they got the great assays from the first hole. Can you tell us more about what you're seeing in the second and the third holes as to whether there's similarities there or not? Bear in mind, assays pending.
Yeah, we are. We're seeing intervals at around the same depth that look very similar to hole 12. Same alteration, same host rocks, little bits of mineralisation here and there. So yeah, we like what we see on that cross section. Once we drill those hole 21 and then hole 22 above the discovery hole, we'll then step off laterally. We don't know what the strike extent of this is, but if we map the alteration that we see at surface with a few outcrops, then, you know, it's certainly more than a few hundred metres. I mean, it could be 5 or 6. And what's really interesting is, you might remember we had an epithermal target called Espiritu that we were exploring earlier, and we had a drill target to the southeast of Espiritu. If you then line up what's happened at Alba and extend that structure through to the northeast, it heads to a portion of that other anomaly. So, you know, the area is huge. I mean, there's kilometres of mineralisation and alteration, and we think we've latched onto this high-grade gold zone. So we'll just keep drilling it and see how big it gets.
Thanks very much, Malcolm. Please thank Malcolm Norris.